For those of you who have had a recent loss of a dear one, and we know it changes your life because life will not be the same, because part of our life is our relationship with that person and how we were relating to them, the things we did together, the friends we shared, and all that goes with that is also gone. So there are multiple losses within a loss. So first, after taking time for yourself, it's very important because we lose our old identity gets washed away, becomes part of the past. But because for me it was like, well, who am I now? And so, well, let me find out. So it's like, well, let's find a new relationship, first of all, with myself, and allow the grieving process and whatever may come up, allow it to happen as it does, because it'll come and go. There'll be days where we feel fine and fairly stable, and we're going about our routine. Maybe we do have things to do, or a job, or other responsibilities. And other days where it's too much. We feel lethargic and depressed and sad and heavy. And especially in that first year, it's important to allow those days. It's completely normal. I knew, in fact, when I went in to see a doctor in Virginia right after this happened, within a few months, and he told me that both his parents had died in the same year. And he had a small practice in this little town in Virginia, but he also was part of a larger thing at University of Virginia, UVA Medical School, and had a lot of responsibilities, and he was on a board, and he just said he went on sabbatical for a year. He said he realized he had to stop, slow down. He kept the small family practice, so he is engaged, but it was part-time, and he gave himself a year off. I thought, wow. So he was recommending that to me. And another thing, to get to know ourselves, it's like we learn through experience. And so to create new experiences, and it's awkward at first to do things on your own, if you're married, for instance, and because we're used to doing things with people. And in my case, it was a fairly traditional marriage in the sense that my husband made arrangements for things just because he did that. He was good at that. And so I just would let him do that. He was the one who took care of things in that sense, those very practical kinds of things. So now I had to do that. And also, I realized I really didn't want to be sitting home alone all the time. And if there weren't other people around inviting me out, or weren't comfortable to invite me, I started going places by myself and traveling alone. It usually had a purpose. So in my case, I just immediately started visiting family members that I didn't see, usually on my own, and booked tickets and got there for birthdays, and I was traveling on my own. And then I began to go, I began to come to Mumbai, and that was the main thing. That was the biggest difference. And I thought I was coming here simply to share a message with the people of Mumbai that we are not victims of terrorism. We're victors over terrorism. We embrace life. We affirm life. We love life. Respect it. Okay, fine. So there was a bit of a big purpose and cause, we could say, and to create an organization around that. So that was one thing. But the personal aspect of things took more time. Eating in restaurants alone. My first Christmas alone at the Oberoi Hotel. Listening to the Christmas carols in the lobby by myself, taking walks on Marine Drive. But bit by bit, as I began to be open to just having friendly chats with people around, I got invited, and I started accepting invitations to business group meetings and so forth, just to meet people and to have that experience. And the British business group met every month at the Trident. And so I found myself there, and I found that I really liked the British people. They were very funny. They have a different kind of sense of humor, and I found it very refreshing. And I had no history with them. They didn't know anything about my past. I was just this kind of a bit of an, I'm not sure what they thought. I know I didn't fit the mold of the usual business person, certainly, this crazy American, but they respected the reason that I was there and accepted me. They didn't question it. We didn't even talk too much about it, actually. It was like, come on, you're welcome. And it was like that. It wasn't like, it was purely social and friendship. And it was just fun. And I started laughing again for the first time. And I thought, I like this. Laughter is good. I like this. So do things that bring you joy and laughter and meeting new people. So if you like the theater, the thing is, when you start to go to these places, even a restaurant, or you go to things that you're interested in, whether it's theater or a movie, I've done a lot of that, but especially things that have receptions before or after where people are commingling, you end up talking to people, and it's really natural. And pretty soon friendships strike up. And that's what happened to me. So then I started getting invited there. There's this thing in the expat world, so I got to be part of that. I was always part of this very spiritual world. And I expanded my definition of spirituality. And the expat world included sundowners. Okay, so that means that when the sun is setting, it's after work, you're sharing a few drinks and laughs with your friends. Great. I'd never in my life done anything like that. So I was breaking the mold, and I said, I'm having a good time. Why not? Why not have a good time? And the more I did that, it was never to excess for me, but it enriched my life so much. And that stimulated thought processes, and I started finding new ways that I could do the work that I wanted to do in ways that were practical. Because without that, I don't think it would ever be accepted by the mainstream. And so that helped me get new ideas. Anytime we shift our environment, it stimulates thoughts and creativity. And whatever it is that you're interested in, then it would stimulate new ideas for projects, maybe new things to study, a course to take, a class, something to learn. That happened to me a lot, and I started doing lots and lots and lots of that. If you're a writing type and journaling, that is really very, very, very good. Highly recommend it. Just get all your thoughts and feelings down. No one's going to read it. It's private. I would suggest journaling regularly. But to step out, though, and not be afraid to meet the world, because the world then will meet you. And I cannot tell you how many things have happened that I thought, well, magic, miracle, elevator conversations. When I'm in the Trident, if I'm willing to actually meet someone's eyes and smile, it's amazing what little conversations you can have, and in some cases leads to this, to this, to this, to this, and pretty soon new paths open up. And because of these various connections that I was making in these situations where I had no agenda other than to have fun, I ended up speaking. I was invited to speak at a women's police conference in Hyderabad at the National Police Academy, and that led to me speaking at the Northeast Academy to a group of graduating cadets. And then I also spoke at a women's police conference in Kerala. Those kinds of things came because of various connections that I never planned. I was just open to connecting and sharing. Lots and lots of media things, because there's a lot of journalists and I never sought any of it out. I never sent out press releases or anything like that. But they find me and they call, and that's a way to share what it is that I like to share. So I welcome it with gratitude, but I've never sought it out. It just happens. But that's because I had to leave my room. And I'm in a comfortable room there where I'm staying by the grace of Mr. Oberoi. And I think when some time goes by, that allow your friends to take you out. Go out and just start. I joined other groups like United Religions Initiative in Charlottesville, Virginia, and then they needed a representative to go to their regional conference that was taking place in North Carolina a couple of months, and none of them could go. But at the time, I had a car. North Carolina was only 6 hours away, and I said, I can go. Wow, okay. That was my first foray into doing something like that. I drove to North Carolina. I attended this thing. I shared my story. It was so moving. People of all faiths were there. They have cooperation circles in every major city that have at least 3 major faiths or more, and they do projects or they create communities together with the different faiths. It's interfaith focus. And as a result of that, I still have friends that I'm communicating with and I just had a friend on Facebook who sent me a message saying, I remember 8 years ago when you were in North Carolina. I can't believe what I've seen now of what you're doing. It's phenomenal. But that was one of the first groups that I joined just completely on my own. Never thought about joining an interfaith group. Never thought about joining Rotary Club, for instance. I joined Rotary in Virginia. That led to a lot of things. I love their principles and what they do. So if you don't belong to a church or a temple or a mosque, but there are different community groups, follow your interests. Yoga centers or if you like the religious organizations. But there are many. The Asia Society I joined to go to their talks and events in Mumbai. But and if you have close friends, find out what they do and join them or invite them to come with you. But if they choose not to, go anyway. It's so much fun. And now I've gotten to the point where being alone does not mean being lonely. There's a big difference. But I did have to feel lonely for a while. It's not the end of the world, actually. And we're only lonely by choice, I found out. Because we're really not alone. On all levels, we're not alone, ever. So that it really is a matter of choice. But I can be going, like I'm here right now in Goa for a week on my own. I'm alone, but I'm not alone. And I'm having a wonderful time. And I'm content and happy. And my days I have more space and more quiet. And it's fine. And I don't feel that lonely feeling where we end up feeling sad. But I understand that feeling, but I also know there's a way out of it. But it's up to you, and I encourage you to open the door that leads that way out.